So, going to the third volume of the three-part series for the adventures of Susan MeeLing, Scuba Diver Extraordinaire. Volume 3, chapters 10 through 20. So, I'm going to show a quick picture from the book, real quick. That is a picture of the side of the Vandenberg as I was ascending after landing at the bottom of the ocean. No, it is not filtered. No, it is not altered in any way. You can still see the date from the timestamp from when I took the picture. So before I continue on in reference to that, I have gotten the information off of the FloridaKeys.com website about the Vandenberg. So really quickly, so that way you can see, I'm going to pull a picture up where you can see side by side. Well, even still. You can see the aspects of the sides comparatively being exactly the same. So, I mean, obviously, I will get to the pictures where I have the satellites and stuff like that in there, but you can see the rusting aspects if you go to the Florida Keys website. Now, I will say that, let me get to those particular pictures, and I'll show you in reference to, so these pictures with like fins in them, those are photoshopped. That's photoshopped right there. That is photoshopped. That is photoshopped. Absolutely, that is photoshopped. So, you know, there's just, it's just, you wouldn't have those. Apparently my neighbors would like to tap on the wall and say hello. But yes, so in reference to the Vandenberg, on May 27th, 2009, after more than a decade of planning and funding totaling a total of $8.6 million, the ex-military missile tracking ship, the USNS General Hoyt S. Vandenberg, that once tracked space launches off of Cape Canaveral, Florida. What a weird little quickie they had gone to Cape Canaveral during that trip, and monitored Soviet missile launches during the Cold War, was added to a list of military vessels purposely sunk off of the Florida Keys to become artificial reefs, thus preserving a bit of U.S. history. Ship details: General Hoyt S. Vandenberg, a former military troop transport and former missile tracking ship, was chosen from about 400 decommissioned military ships rusting away in what are known as ghost fleets across the country, such as in Bremerton Shipyard. Gross tonnage volume is 17,120 tons, the length 524 feet and 10 inches. Yeah, okay. Beam 71 feet. Draft 24 feet. Height after sinking 100 feet from keel to the highest point. Stack masts and antennae were trimmed to allow 40 to 45 feet of clearance from the surface. Oh, I don't think so. The first is a submarine taller or shorter than 40 to 45 feet? Let me see. I have a picture right here. Hold on, I know I got it. You know, with my son standing, there it is. Now, my son is 5'4" in that picture. That is just the hull. So that is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 of him. So that's about 25 to 30 feet tall. I'm going to guesstimate that a submarine ship is a little bit taller than that. So again, with the numbers being inaccurate in regards to such information. Anyway, so where'd it go? So the ship first saw duty as a U.S. Army troop transport named the General Harry Taylor, which is kind of funny because I wrote another book series where it's Henry is one of the characters. It became the General Hoyt S. Vandenberg in 1963 and tracked the U.S. space program's launches off of Cape Canaveral. It also served in the Pacific monitoring U.S. defense missile test launches and eavesdropped on Russian missile launches during the Cold War. Port Canaveral, Florida, was the Vandenberg's last active duty home port beginning in 1976. What a weird little coinky-dink about that guy from, it's not just another channel, but he calls it just another channel. The Vandenberg was formally retired in 1983, just 1 year after I was born. Weird. And was transferred to the James River Naval Reserve Fleet. My son is named James Michael. But according to Patrick J. Utecht, who managed the ship's electronic systems, a team of 6 technicians would visit Vandenberg every 6 months to power up all the shipboard electronics and make any necessary repairs. Despite, which is kind of weird as a little side point, when I was dating Patrick Kennedy and living in Irving, where there was like a little field before the, lawyers building, which I didn't know was the lawyers building, by the way. So while the lawyers for Carrollton Farmers Branch Independent School District may have incorrectly thought that I chose that no, I tried to, you could ask the front desk. I was infuriated when I found out that it was still a part of Carrollton Farmers Branch Independent School District, and I had not gotten the paperwork for the lawyers for that school district until several months later after moving into that location. So, but point being, when I was out on the back patio, there was a little bit of a situation, and I'll leave it at that. So, it's just kind of weird. Just a little quickie dink. Every 6 months to power up all shipboard electronics and make any necessary repairs, despite the state of readiness at all times. The ship was never used again, and in 1993, irony of ironies, because, well, I had a dream in 1992 about something that wound up occurring in 1993 and then in 2001. Was formally struck from the Naval Register and transferred to the U.S. Maritime Administration. Irony, scuba diving, right? The ship received its most public exposure when cast as a Russian science ship in Virus, a 1999 motion picture starring Jamie Lee Curtis, William Baldwin, and Donald Sutherland. So I would guesstimate they probably know how big the Vandenberg is, right? They'd probably be able to be like, so that information on that website is incorrect. It's much, much bigger. And, I don't know if it was a movie that I would have been allowed to see. Because, before my head injury, I wasn't allowed to watch movies that were above a certain rating without permission. And, well, I don't like breaking rules. I know that might be weird, but, I am the way I am. And I was, before my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, I had been trying to get my biological parents to sign the paperwork because, no. I had already been talking with the recruiter and told them that I would be graduating soon. And so then it was another couple of months before my biological parents would finally sign the paperwork so I could go into the military for the United States of America's Armed Forces Army branch. And then the head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. But anyway, approximately $8.6 million with funding coming from the Monroe County in Florida, the Florida's Governor Office of Tourism, Trade and Economic Development, City of Key West, U.S. Maritime Administration, the Florida Legislature, Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, Florida Keys and Key West Tourism Council, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, as well as industry and private donations. Banks that provided loans included the First Bank of the Florida Keys, BB&T, and Orion, which is kind of funny because there is like a constellation in the sky called Orion. Preparing the ship, and no offense towards the other stuff, just pointed that out. And then irony, LBD, Lady Dory, or anyway. Or anyway, preparing the ship before arriving in Key West, April 22nd, 2009. Irony of what happened to my daughter in 2010 at McCoy Elementary School, and by that time I had been repeatedly asking to be on the field trip to make sure my daughter was okay. Irony of ironies. The ship had undergone months of inspections and about 75,000 man-hours worth of cleanup in 2 Norfolk, Virginia shipyards to remove the contaminants that were deemed potential hazards to the marine environment and were required by nearly 18 different local, state, and federal agencies involved to receive the necessary federal and state permits to sink the ship in the sanctuary. Irony of ironies, I will guesstimate all those individuals could be less so that the Vandenberg ship is not so little. Pollutants removed included 81 bags of asbestos, 193 tons of materials that contained potentially carcinogenic substances, 46 tons of floatable refuse, 300 pounds of mercury-containing materials, and 184 55-gallon drums of paint chips. On March 31st, 2007, the Vandenberg was withdrawn from the James River Naval Reserve Fleet and towed into Kelowna's shipyard in Norfolk, Virginia for cleanup and preparation. Veterans of the Vandenberg bid farewell to their ship. So these guys right there in that picture, they apparently would have an idea of how big the ship was. 4 veterans served on a former missile tracking ship trekked to the Key West to gather alongside the General Hoyt S. Vandenberg and bid the ship a final farewell as it prepared to be scuttled in as an artificial reef 7 miles off of Key West. Location at approximately 24 degrees 24 degrees 27 feet north, 81 degrees 44 feet west, approximately 7 miles south of Key West International Airport, in nearly 150 feet of water. In the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary, the site was chosen 10 years ago prior, from 2009. With the input of the interested parties, permitting was required from 18 different agencies. More than 130 dives were conducted to survey the site. It is hard, barren bottom with no coral and no submerged cultural resources, historic wrecks at that time. But they were not as deep as Sink date, officially May 27th, 2009. Explosive cutting charges were detonated to open holes in the lower deck. Marine engineers who had predicted the ship would sink in less than 3 minutes were correct. Vandenberg slipped beneath the surface in 1 minute 45 seconds, landing upright on the bottom. The ship is now the second largest vessel in the world ever purposefully sunk to become an artificial reef. The sinking also represents the southernmost part of the Florida Keys Shipwreck Trail, a series of internationally sunk vessels that begins off of Key Largo with a former Navy landing ship dock. The Spiegel Grove sunk in 2002 and ends with the Vandenberg. Irony, my daughter was born in 2002. So, going back to the information, I know that... Let's is. Okay. So, I'm going to pull up the pictures so you can see up close. That is supposedly the Vandenberg, but if you zoom in, you can see that it is painted over the rust. Here, let me turn it to the side so that way you can see that better. Because if you look, that those letters, not necessarily the Vandenberg. I mean, it's called the Vandenberg down there, but doesn't look, that looks like a fresh coat of paint. And that is photoshopped with that scuba diver there. Oh, so photoshopped. But so is that one. Yeah. Yeah, that one's photoshopped. Yeah, that's photoshopped. That's photoshopped. That is definitely photoshopped. Look how long that should be. Here, let me turn it to the side. Hold on. I mean, how far away do you have to be to get that picture? That's a really long ship. That does not look like it's 500 feet. No. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing that out there. So, you know, there's different areas. And so, you know. And actually, what's kind of, where is it? So this particular ship. Okay, so this picture. If you look, looks like a person's in there, right? But there wasn't anybody in there at the time. That's actually an apparition of a spirit, to be honest. So that's actually an actual picture of an apparition of an actual ghost. Irony of it being a ghost ship, right? Ooh. But yeah. So, you know, here you can see there's a porta potty right there. And then the ship is much taller than the porta potty. Yes, it is. By a lot. A whole bunch. Yeah, here's a, whoop, let me do that because there it's above the water. And you can see the paint. Look at the dots. And then the, yeah. Yes. You know, just saying, look how tall that is. Yeah. Where's the American flag? And so, yeah. And so here's a picture with 2 porta potties. And the ship is much taller, and that's not the tallest part of the ship. No, it is not. So, yeah. There's the anchors. Those look pretty big. They look bigger than cars. Yes, they do. Oh, look, there's a truck behind there. It's bigger than a truck. Look at that. Yes. So, you know, that's a pretty big satellite dish. Yes, it is. Yeah, that's a big ship. Yeah, no, that looks tall. That looks tall. So, yeah. I'm just saying that definitely. This part looks like it's about 500 feet tall. That looks about 500 feet, but not the length that way. No, that way. But just that part, you know, right there. I guess they hung the American flag afterwards, right? But yeah, so, you know. Ooh, look at that. Yes, hi. Hi. Yeah. Yeah, Yeah, so here it's an up close. Ooh, look at that. Yes, I did land there and take a picture from the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, that looks a lot taller. Yes, it does. So, you know, I mean, again, you know, just saying, you know, I'm just going to throw that out there, you know, here. So, in reference to those, you know, I understand that it's important for newer ships to not have that. But, you know, for ships that are supposed to be decommissioned, why would that be? Hello. Surprise. I survived. And so, you know. But here's a quick little fun. You don't see him there anymore. Or there. So, you know, just point that out. So for the individuals who either didn't believe, I hope you do now. So, again, I took that picture. As I was ascending, no less. And so real quick, that satellite is not the Vandenberg satellite. Just so you know. That is not the Vandenberg right there. That is a different ship. That is in the vicinity. You could make a joke that after that you shut your mouth and go back down there. When I said that I felt like I was being drugged backwards. If that, you know, he listened, but I may have hypothetically, you know, I guess there is that suction for when he closed his mouth. Big fishy with the one little TV. One TV I saw. And so you can see the bioluminescent jellyfish. Thankfully, that did not sting me. That were like, okay, we're not gonna bother you. But then, you know, there's air bubbles from that particular vessel. And then I'm going to end this particular video with this picture that I took. So you see the bioluminescent little jellyfish, cutie patooties. These are two scuba divers that the mer people put up so that way when time came, because unlike cherubim, the mer people actually respect their dead. They obviously respect the living, but they understand far more than some would give credit for. And so those two particular scuba divers, they descended too far. And they tied them there for the day that somebody would be able to come along and help get them back to wherever they were a part of. For those who know those type of scuba diving suits, they know what era those scuba divers are from. And yes, they do have mer people watching over them to make sure that nothing bad occurs to them. Because yes, those scuba divers are frozen. They did pass But unlike certain cherubim, in regards to my Medal of Honor art project, they protect. They are vicious if they have to be. No denying that. But those pictures that I took were not in a disrespectful manner. It was not the mer people being disrespectful. It was actually the complete opposite. It was they were leaving them there instead, and they have fought off many animals that have attempted to eat them, those two scuba divers. Though they look like their hands are bound, which they are, it's because they were already gone when they were found. So, I guess in certain ways you can make a joke in reference to me on land when it comes to my Medal of Honor art project, just in a different way, and not as a joke to make fun of, but to genuinely protect and keep safe. So, I'm going to conclude this particular video. Please do share my official title videos of my YouTube channel